Alright, you guys. So, as you could tell by the title of this video and thumbnail, talking some more aligned continuity slash Transformers Prime leaks from the Book of Revelations that just got leaked onto the internet a couple weeks ago at the time of this recording. And I want to specifically delve into the character profile and bio of my guy Autobot Jazz. Now, this would have been a version of the design and the character that could have been used in the Transformers Prime show, the comics, video games, RAD 2015, which obviously was, they did change some details and drastically his design for RAD 2015, but virtually it was kind of the same basically with Jazz. But the design you see here in this book for his profile has been on the internet for probably around a little over 10 years now. I can't remember if it was leaked or if it was something that Hasbro officially released to the public. Maybe one of you guys know watching this, but maybe the car drawing is new. I don't think I remember seeing his vehicle mode art on the internet the last over 10 years now, but I could be wrong on that. But I want to get into his bio here and then we'll talk about everything as always. So, name Jazz, transformation, sports car, archetype Sage, which is pretty interesting. It fits his bill. He's very heroic and he's like young but old at the same time, so it fits his bill. Personality, stylish, loud, friendly, enthusiastic, pushes the line, selfless, overly obsessed with Earth culture, party animal when the time is ripe. History. Jazz was one of the premier Autobot warriors on Cybertron, so when Prime needed volunteers for the Ark, Jazz immediately signed up. Though he dies on Earth, Ratchet was able to later restore him to life. His love of human customs and friendly attitude make him one of the most liked Transformers among his human contacts. Special abilities: photographic memory, chameleon, sociologist. Distinguishing features: speaks in slang, plays music from voice box. Allies and enemies: sub-commander of Optimus Prime, friend to Bumblebee, human connection, Transformer cultural ambassador to Earth, primary polarity Quintessian, complementary polarity Nexian. The primary polarity and the complementary polarity thing, that's kind of like one of those weird, I haven't gotten into this in the Book of Revelations book, I haven't read it myself, but it's like the astral signs and stuff like that, I'm pretty sure, which I'll probably get into later on here on the channel in the coming weeks or days or months or whatever, but they go into that more in the book. I'm not sure what that is yet exactly, but I'll read it at some point. And his archetype, it makes sense. I do like that he is a sage. It does fit who Jazz is as a bot. But the thing that really kind of perked me up and caught me off guard here was the whole he dies on Earth, but Ratchet restores him to life. This raises a few questions here. Number one, was this something that they were going to introduce either in a cartoon, a comic book, or a video game as a storyline for this character at some point down the line, and it was scrapped, for obvious reasons, because aligned continuity became a mess of a continuity as the cartoons and the comics and the video games went on over the years? Or because I have covered here on the channel over the last couple weeks and in few videos that there's a lot of details in the Book of Revelations here that were original plot lines, stories, and scripts written for the live-action Bayverse movies at the time that was formed in the 2015 writer's room. These were original storylines for The Last Knight, Transformers 6, the Beast Wars movie, probably the Bumblebee movie too, Transformers 1 even, which was still used for some of that movie. And, there's been a lot of story beats that they kept and put into Book of Revelations from the original writer's room and the original versions of those Bayformer movies, and even Transformers 7, I believe, as well, but I'm not too sure on that. So it makes me wonder here, was this detail something that they were going to use in future films, or a future film like maybe Transformers 5 or 6 or even 7 that they were writing, and they put in there in the 2015 writers room, but it was cut for whatever reason. I could see that being the case because a lot of people wanted Jazz back into the movies, and they were doing quite a bit of like first 3 movie fanfare for like the last night and stuff, bringing Lennox back, Bumblebee's design reverting back to his sort of Dark of the Moon look. They were kind of going for that stuff with the new cinematic universe they were building at the time, so it wouldn't surprise me if they did had plans to bring Jazz back, and that's how they were going to explain it with Ratchet, and maybe he was off somewhere, with his own missions during the sequels or whatever, and they were going to write in why he came back for that movie. There's a lot of stuff they could have done that would have made sense for Jazz. It really is an open book for that character's story to continue in the movies, so I wouldn't be surprised if that was a plan originally, but it got cut from that cinematic universe as things went along, which is evident of a lot of stuff I've covered in this book so far. And also the allies and enemies thing, sub-commander of Optimus Prime. So Hasbro knows that Jazz is the second in command traditionally to Optimus Prime's core group of Autobots. I know there's a couple different iterations, like in animated, the Cybertron games, where he's still a high-ranking Autobot, but he's not necessarily second in command because the rankings and different continuities for the Autobots and the Decepticons and stuff, that really does vary, especially in animated when there's like 10,000 primes on Cybertron. But generally, Jazz is depicted as second in command in basically the 3 main iterations of the franchise: the movies, G1, and aligned continuity. Those are the 3 main continuities that are the most popular for Transformers. So that's what Hasbro goes by, that's what I go by, because there's always some people in the comment section that's like, in the G1 cartoon, Jazz wasn't second in command. He either shared command with Prowl, or he was third or even fourth in command behind Prowl and Ultra Magnus. Dude, if you watch G1, he clearly either shares command with Prowl or even outranks him in most scenes that he commands. And, even Hasbro and Takara see him as second in command. So why would I go with anything else when that's mostly what he's been depicted as and what Hasbro intended him to be for the Bible of Transformers Book of Revelations here? It just makes a lot more sense to me. And friend to Bumblebee thing, that again plays into this version of the character taking heavy inspiration from the Bayverse side of things, which a lot of the aligned continuity and the Bible of Transformers and the Book of Revelations here takes from the movieverse very heavily at this time. Most of this book is taken from the movies, actually. So I think what they were doing here with the friend to Bumblebee thing was that he definitely acted like a close friend to Bumblebee in the '07 movie. They were always driving together in scenes. Jazz was always looking out for Bumblebee and asking about him when he was in Sector 7 captivity. He seemed to be the one that cared about Bumblebee the most out of all the Autobots, besides maybe Optimus in that movie. So I think they got that from the movies as well, besides him dying on Earth and Ratchet bringing him back to life. So that's another really interesting detail they took from the movies. Now I'm also going to read his main bio here and give you all my thoughts on everything as always. Jazz loves Earth. As a cultural sociologist, he is supposed to remain objective when studying human society, but he can't help himself. Earth music, movies, slang have all affected him so much that even some of his Autobot friends are a little put off by his Earthisms. Jazz is also a consummate soldier, completely selfless when fighting. When the battle is done, however, he likes to relax in his favorite way, listening to music and partying. Work hard, play harder. Polarity implications. Jazz is primarily quintessential for his creative and inquisitive attitude, sometimes makes him a bit egotistical, but his unpredictable daring and zeal also reveal Nexus Prime's influence. So yeah, that basically sums up who Jazz has been in basically every iteration of the character since 1984. No real complaints there. It's basically why I fell in love with the character and why he's one of my favorite characters of all time in Transformers, and why, frankly, it's one of basically every Transformers fan's favorite characters of all time in Transformers. I don't think I've met one fan of Transformers that doesn't like Jazz, you know. But the one thing here with the polarity implications, again, that's something from the Book of Revelations lore that I haven't read into yet, so I don't really know a whole lot about this, but the whole egotistical thing from Quintessian and the 13 Primes and stuff and Nexus Prime, that I don't know if that really fits who Jazz is as a character, but I don't know. He is confident in himself, so I guess you could spin that. And of course, this is a different interpretation of the character. This is for a line continuity. It's not G1 or the movies, so I guess that's a welcomed, and it could be an interesting change if they were ever to, you know, bring that to life in fiction. But that does sort of rub me the wrong way just a little bit, I gotta admit. But yeah, guys, that does it for the Jazz character profile that I wanted to cover here in this leaked aligned continuity book. This was for if he were to appear in maybe even Transformers Prime, even though he wasn't planned. You know, they did write up stuff for him, or games, comics, and stuff like that. And yeah, guys, let me know down below. How do y'all feel about the aligned continuity version of Jazz, his characterization, and his design? And yeah, guys, thank you for watching this video. Catch y'all in the next one. Bye!